Flex your business with an American Express Business Gold Card. You'll earn 4 times membership rewards points on your top 2 eligible spending categories, like transit and electronics, each month, on up to $150K in combined purchases per year. Plus, you can now earn 3 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. Terms and points cap apply. Learn more at AmericanExpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold, built for business by American Express.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA.
You're listening to Achtung, Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Listeners, a week is a long time in football. Consider 2 tweets 7 days apart. 21st of January 2025. I shan't name the poster. If it is you and you recognise your words, give me a shout. I'll buy you an Achtung Millwall t-shirt in support of the Lions Food Hub on noonelikes.co.uk. But 21st of January 2025. Referee and linos were proper shit again, as per. Doesn't excuse this joke of a team, though. 7 days later, same person. I'm loving the team that's currently being built right now. Gallen's doing a great job with Alex Neil coaching and utilising these players. I think we could be on to big things in the future. Hashtag Millwall. There we are, listeners. 7 days is a long time in politics. It's an eternity in football, and it's an aeon in Millwall. Welcome, dear listeners. Welcome to Achtung Millwall. My name is Nick Hart. A little bit of fun there at the expense of an unnamed poster. If it is you, it's all meant in the best possible taste. And do give me a shout. I'll buy you a t-shirt for the use of your material, dear listeners. We speak, of course, in the wake, the aftermath of that magnificent win at Fratton Park last night. Portsmouth 0, Millwall 1. A wonderful away win. One that's really lifted my spirits. I think it's lifted everyone's spirits, as you can tell from social media at the moment. Last night's team, Roberts in goal, making his I think it's his league debut. I could be wrong. I don't think he's played for us in the league. He played in the Carling Cup, but I don't believe in the Football League. So well done to Liam Roberts. I thought he put in a fine performance overall, made some crucial blocks and saves, and did really well stepping into Lucas Jensen's shoes. Such a performance, with confidence, that I would think in terms of him, he's got the shirt, keeping it. I don't know what you would think, dear listeners, but I thought he came in and really, really took the position. So well done, Liam Roberts. Back line, the excellent Tristan Kramer. I like to give it a French twist, listeners. Kramer, really, really good player. A real asset. A central defender playing in right back position, but he looks, a natural fit for it. I think he's a really strong signing that's been made recently. Then Jake Cooper and Jeff Tanganga rocks. The usual. You come to expect these kind of magnificent performances from both of these real, standout senior players. Cooper and Tanganga last night really had to sustain the resistance to a bombardment. Pompey, I thought, weren't bad. They weren't brilliant, but they weren't bad. They were putting the ball into our penalty area quite a bit. I hadn't got the stats to hand. They did show it on the Sky TV coverage, a graphic that said that, I can't remember how many crosses, there were a lot of crosses coming into the box. And if you keep pumping the ball in, you'll create chances. And so they did. But a combination of the defence generally, including Joe Bryan on the left, but especially the two big men, Cooper and Tanganga, and Roberts in goal, kept it all at bay. And that, I thought, was a really, really strong fighting performance, defensively speaking, last night. Two players that have taken a bit of a pounding. I've already mentioned lightheartedly some of the tweets that have been doing the rounds, but Casper Denort and Jules Saville, I thought, really stepped up to the plate last night, put in a crunching performance against a difficult Pompey side, who got bodies forward. I was struck by the number of times that when they did attack, they seemed to have blue shirts aplenty. In contrast to some of the Millwall performances we've seen of late, not last night, but certainly of late. That's the kind of thing that I was hoping that we would start to do. In front of the defensive two, Denor and Saville, we had the magnificent, the sublime, the exquisite Reece Bangura-Williams, who would play a crucial role in the creation of the goal. Would miss an early chance, a screamer of a chance. He'll probably not want to see that again, but he will want to think about how he didn't take that opportunity in the first or second minute. But he would make up for it with interest on the 39th minute with one of the best passes I think I've seen at Millwall in a long time. And I might even think to bring Eva into the sentence, because it was a ball out of defence into the path of the onrushing Ivanovic, who still had to do some work to put it into net, which he did with aplomb. But the ball forwards was a work of art. And I was actually speculating on X, Twitter, earlier on today, listeners, and maybe you can help me out here, because I can't think of a Millwall player who's come in from the under-21 side, to the production system, so to speak, that's come into the first team and looked so assured, almost born to championship level football, and has been so influential in such critical moments. If anyone can think of anyone to match some of the footwork we saw against Cardiff for the opening goal, and some of the goal against Dagenham, I'm going to discount that because it's an FA Cup game, but still, that was a wonderful body swerve. And last night's pass forwards, as I said, it was sublime. If anyone can think of a player that's had that amount of impact from the reserve teams coming into the first team ever, I can't think of one. Can you? Essay, I thought when he first came into the side, it took a few games just to start to hint at the promise that in the end blossomed. But initially he did look like a little boy playing in men's football. It became apparent very quickly that he had skill, but I don't think I can quite match it with the impact that Reece Bangura-Williams has had. Now I don't want to blow too much smoke up his rear end, but he's almost become a must pick from nowhere, and that's an incredible performance. So Bangura-Williams, Aaron Connolly. Let's mention Aaron Connolly. Obviously he had the penalty miss on Saturday, which might have weighed heavy on the boys. There was no sign of it last night. I thought he put in a really, really strong flair performance, and I think we've got two players there in Bangura-Williams and Connolly that can really turn it on in the Championship. And we've not long lost Romain Esse to Crystal Palace for big money, but I can't say we're missing him. I can't think of anything quite on an equivalent level. When previous talents have left us, and as I've said many times, I go back as far as Gordon Hill in the 70s, but normally they leave a big hole until we can find some way to replace them. At the moment, with the form of those, Bangura especially, but also now Aaron Connolly, it's, we're barely missing a major talent. That's incredible. I can't think of any situation like it in my Millwall career. And it's turned very, very quickly, as we've made the point already with some of the social media postings. On the other side of Connolly Bangura was Duncan Watmore, a player that got quite a lot of criticism, justifiably so, in some of the recent performances. But whatever's been said, whatever air has been cleared behind the scenes, whatever issues may have been worked out, I don't know. But he's looking like a player that really wants to get stuck in, looks hungry, and you're getting some echoes of the moments we've had with Duncan Watmore when he's looked really good. So that's great to see. Up front, the big Serb, Ivanovic. What a finisher, listeners. What a finisher. And increasingly now starting to contribute the all-round striking game that I think that you have to have at Championship level. He's still got a long way to go on that. But he's making first steps in that direction. And what shines out for me is the boy's instinctive ability to finish moves the goal that he had to put away last night from the pass forwards was, it wasn't an easy chance. You see many strikers, top-level strikers, that miss those opportunities. And repeatedly now over his appearances since the ending of the Neil Harris era and the change into the new regime, my own view is that the boy is responding to a bit of tender, loving care. He's now clearly being seen as a starter. Clearly, his abilities are being appreciated, and whatever is going on behind the scenes of Alex Neil and his coaching staff, he's starting to learn the ways of the Championship, and this is all good. I've really got to take my hat off to the transformation that's unfolding with Mihailo Ivanovic. Beautiful goal last night. Now, last night's performance was, on top of the performance and the win, you've got to sprinkle the salt and vinegar of the fact that the bench, is really starting to show some of the full stretch nature of our squad. Injuries creeping up on us, and with the likes of some of the kids, Kendall, Leahy sitting on the bench, the performance really took on a different hue because it was real backs to the wall stuff, and fantastic win that incidentally puts now an 8-point gap, I think, between ourselves and a 10-point gap, excuse me. We're on 37, sitting in 14th place now, and Derby County occupy the third relegation spot on 27. So puts a bit of clear blue water between us and the dreaded bottom three that was looking a little bit, we were looking over our shoulder into the win on Saturday. And last night's result really gives us an opportunity to press on from here. There's an idea, and it is only an idea, but 50 points in general is seen as the margin for safety. It's not guaranteed, nothing's set in stone, but we're now 13 points short of that mark. And I'd sooner be in our position of 13 points short than 23 points that Derby are going to need if they're going to get out of the hole. So we can start to think and start to plan, hopefully, for the future with some of these players that are really starting to shine. So safety's not assured yet. We still need a few more wins, but you can see now, a way forwards for the achievement of those results. So really well done all round. Man of the match from the Millwall perspective last night, I think, it's got to be Jeffet Tanganga, because in the second half particularly we were leading, but Portsmouth did start to turn the heat up on us. They had a few chances, glancing headers wide of the mark. I actually lost my television feed. The internet went down on 86 minutes and it only came back to life with about 2 minutes left on the clock. So I can't tell you about any late incidents in the match because I was desperately running around the house trying to get a 4G signal. It would have been quite comic, actually. It's the kind of thing that Frank Spencer might have done in some mothers do have them. But eventually we got through to full time, 1-0, and I didn't miss anything, I hope, too glaring. But overall, magnificent performance. Well managed substitutions. Well, Wintle, Mitchell and Ivanovic, Langstaff coming in for Ivanovic, Mitchell for Casper Denor, and Wintle for Reece Bangura Williams in the 68th minute. Good management. I think Alex Neil is starting to show his mettle. He's working on a very, a tough stretched bench at the moment, and I thought he did really well last night. So Sky described that substitution, three-way substitution, as leg saving, which probably the consequence of being, he's managed about 400 odd games in the Championship, they said on TV last night. So, that certainly came out there, I thought. So well done, Alex Neil. Well done to the squad. Well done to the travelling Millwall support, who really sounded loud on TV. And I think we can not yet breathe a sigh of relief, listeners, but we can now imagine a situation where we can start to breathe a sigh of relief in the not too distant future. So wonderful, wonderful stuff. Now then, listeners, we have voicemails aplenty for your oral delectation, and I'm going to begin with Aussie Dave. Take it away, Dave.
Nick, Aussie Dave here after that win against Portsmouth. Straight out the shithousery manual. Would not have been out of place in a Rowett or Harris team. Classic smash and grab. Well done, boys. What are some of the good points? One, a fabulous defensive display against, listen to this, 48 crosses. Next point, Joe Bryant is really looking solid defensively the last 3 games. And I think Alex Neil has simplified his role with a greater emphasis on his defence rather than going upfield. Third point, the RBW Ivanovic combo seems to work well. They seem to be on the same wavelength. Though I must admit, I think I prefer Connolly to number 10 instead of RBW. Next point, Saville quietened his critics. That was a heroic display right up to the end. And the final good point, Roberts, the goalkeeper, looked ultra confident. He looked really dominant and maybe is our goalkeeper for the rest of the season. A couple of not so good points. One, particularly in the second half, we were very poor holding the ball. We'd clear it and it had come back again. Which was different to Luton on Saturday, which I think we had a bit more control. But let's allow for the fact that it is our threadbare weak team. Once we got the full team there, maybe we can hold the ball a bit better. And the second not so good point, I must admit, I've really gone off Watmore. He seems to break up what sometimes be promising moves. And really, he had a lucky beginning of the season, and that's about it. So anyway, overall, feeling great. Bring on QP. Ha, ha, ha. Come on, you Lions.
Fantastic stuff, Dave. Interesting how you can hold different opinions about the same player. I didn't think Watmore did too badly last night, but 48 crosses, Dave says, and I do believe you, Dave, because it seemed that way watching it on live stream, mate, didn't it? I thought the combination of the 2 central defenders, as I've said already, plus Roberts in goal, magnificent last night, and I do agree that Alex Neil should be giving serious consideration based on what we saw last night with Liam Roberts. He looked so much more confident in the punch and the coming for crosses. He actually caught and held a couple of crosses, which modern goalkeepers tend not to do. And I thought he really, really did look the part. So that poses a very good problem for Alex Neil. Agree about Saville. I think he did shut a few critics up. He shut me up. I was most put out by the display against Cardiff. And the only way, the best way, the only way to deal with criticism is to show it on the pitch. And that's what George has done. Giving the ball away, I'd put that down. I'd agree with you, Dave. I'd agree very much. In that second half particularly, we're giving it away very cheaply. But I'm going to guess that's tiredness, a lot of football, stretch squad, short space of time in which we're dealing with it all. Shithousery manual. I'm going to get that manual. Where can I buy a copy of the Shithousery manual, dear listeners? At your local WH Smiths, although they're closing, so maybe not. Let's have a listen now to our second Aussie. Let's have a listen to Dean Vadic.
G'day Nick, Dean from Australia here. I just want to give my thoughts on the last couple of games, the resurgence of the playing group. It's certainly looking a bit worrying there, and we seem to be suffering from a bit of a hangover from the whole Neil Harris saga. But full credit to the players. They've really bounced back the last couple of games and got a couple of really important wins. Good to see Mahalo, who looks like he's going to be a player, doesn't he? Just get more and more confident each game he plays. Full credit to Alex Neil for bringing the confidence out of him. I did hear the Neil Harris comments the other day, and saying he played his best game for the club last game, and just the quality of finish against Portsmouth, very cool under pressure. Someone like Macaulay Langstaff probably would have just snapped at the shot and rushed it a bit, whereas you see Mahalo, he's just got that confidence now, just stay calm in a situation 1-on-1, and just a beautiful finish. Bangura Williams certainly looks like a good replacement for SA. It's given him a really good opportunity, and we haven't felt the effects of that. And it was a beautiful assist, just read where Ivanovic was going to go and laid it to him beautifully. Unfortunately, he missed that goal early, but full credit to Duncan Watmore, showed really good leadership there. Just went up to him and said, "Don't worry about it, mate. Just keep going and keep doing what you're doing." Aaron Connolly looks like he's going to be a real ripping signing. Definitely a very good number 9, number 10 sort of player. I think he'll score goals soon too. He gets himself in really good positions. And once he gets that first one, I think he'll rattle off a few. I don't know if we'll be able to keep him. He's certainly a talented player there, but he certainly scares defences. Kramer looks pretty good as a makeshift right back as well. Definitely more of a central defender, but filling in really well on the right side of defence. Keep up the great work, Nick. Love hearing the voicemails. Love listening to the show. So yeah, keep it all up, mate, and go the Lions.
Girl, you have got to try this Laneige lip mask. Trust me, my lips needed that love. Love these vanilla vibes from Kayali. That top note is just so smooth.
Smooth and stunning. That's what you get with this K18 hair mask.
Those brands everybody's talking about, they're at Sephora. Discover the hype with the hottest names in beauty, including Laneige, Kayali, K18, and Rare Beauty. Click or tap the banner to discover the next big thing. Only at Sephora.
This episode is brought to you by Love Hurts. Kiwi Kwan has had quite a career, from childhood roles in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and The Goonies to a recent Academy Award win for Everything Everywhere All at Once. But now Ki finally stars as a leading man in the film Love Hurts. Love Hurts is the perfect date night movie with its mix of over-the-top action, comedy, and a ton of heart. Love Hurts, only at theaters February 7th.
Achtung, Millwall.
Big thank you to Dean Vazic just before the break there, listeners. Big shout out, incidentally, to all of our Australian listeners. We get quite a few out there in Oz, so good day. Does that sound right? I don't think it does it? Dean made a good point, though, about the impact of the ending of the Neil Harris saga and the apparent rise of Ivanovic. I don't think it's any secret to say that Neil Harris felt Ivanovic to have been imposed upon him by the signing regime. The goals that Ivanovic has scored have all been important goals. Someone made a great post the other day about the number of points that Mihailo's goals have gained us. It will be 10 points now. I think it was, his goals have won us matches and 3 points, very valuable points last night in the table. But I just think that if it's apparent that the manager didn't want you and arguably doesn't rate you, then that's not going to be very conducive to producing your best performance. The boy's only 19 and he is, as others have said on previous shows, he's away from home, he's in a foreign country. English is his second language. All of these factors must come into play. And I think if you know that the manager is basically unhappy that you're here, if that's the right way to put it, then it can't be helpful for your performance. I think Alex Neil coming in seems to be bringing the best out of Mihailo Ivanovic. I've certainly noticed an improvement in his laying off, the kind of areas that I suppose Neil Harris would have felt, attributes he was having to develop. Well, he's starting to improve that, and he has a natural goal scoring ability that is invaluable in the game, listeners. And I think that he's proving to be an astute signing. It wasn't apparent, and many of us were doubting Thomas, doubting Nicholas. But if you watch a player develop and start to produce the goods, you've got to be first to say so. And, I do believe we're starting to see an improvement in Mihailo Ivanovic. We've mentioned RBW, Reece Bangura-Williams, already. I think the boy has had an immense impact on our side. He's just brought in that flair and touch of the ability to do the unexpected that I thought was going to be, en route to Selhurst Park, and was with the departure of Romain Esse. But we seem to have acquired a pretty good stand-in replacement, maybe, whisper it, someone superior. Let's hope so. He's got work to do yet, but he's clearly set on the right path there. Dean mentions Aaron Connolly, and others have mentioned Aaron Connolly. I thought he played well. He had a late effort. He had a shot on goal towards the last few seconds when I got my internet stream back to life again. I just about caught a very, very late effort, which was a kind of a zooming shot that I think the goalkeeper batted it away, if my memory serves. Let me have a look. Shot just it was narrowly wide. Sorry. So, but it was a great effort late in the game, and I think the boy has real flair. Whether we can keep him if he does get his lifestyle together, don't know. I hope so. I'm hoping he's enjoying life at the Den, and he's another player that deserves our support. So a big thank you there to Dean. Let's move along now. Let's have a listen to Jim Lucas.
Morning, Nick. Jim here. After my mega rant last Wednesday, I thought it was only fair that I gave you another shout today. Said in my text message, actually, just looking back at everything in this, a lot can change in a week, and it definitely can at this club, can't it? Would have never have thought this time last week that we'd be talking about 2 wins on the bounce, 2 clean sheets again. I thought things looked pretty terminal last Tuesday, but fair play. I would say I'm the first to hammer the club. Actually, I don't like hammering the club, and I didn't like sending that message last week. So to be able to send a much more pleasant message today, I think is something that we would all prefer to be doing. So, yeah, was at Portsmouth last night. That's an easy trip for me. I live just along the coast, so I was home by 11 o'clock in bed, which is a nice change from some of the midweek games. I thought we were really good, as I'm sure all of these messages will say. Joe Bryant, again, one of the players I've not been a huge fan of this season, to be honest. I thought he was absolutely excellent last night. Didn't put a foot wrong against a good player, but an aging player, I guess, in Matt Ritchie. Jafet Tanganga, what can you say? Slightly provocatively, I put on Twitter, I think he might be the best player we've ever had. I think my memory only goes back as far as 1988, probably 1990. So I didn't see Teddy at his best. And obviously there's a few other players before that as well that come into that mix, but the bloke is just head and shoulders above anything I think I've ever seen play for us. He just makes it look so easy. There was a little thing he did down on the touchline in front of us where in his own box he's holding off 2 or 3 attackers, he's dribbling the ball out of the area, and he just makes it all look so easy. So we're very lucky to have him. Not sure how long we'll have him, but kind of similar to Romain Esse. Just enjoying while we've got him. Other players to mention, the goalie Liam Roberts. Not easy coming in for a second goalie. I thought he was brilliant. I have to remember. I think he and Jensen were probably 2 of the best goalies in League One last season. There probably wasn't much between them. I think that showed really. He was very impressive, very quick, very confident in the air as well. So massive credit to him, credit to everyone. Ivanovic's finish, brilliant. Confidence does a lot for a striker. You can tell. He's confident. When he went for on goal, there was no doubt that he was going to finish that. And he definitely has a little bit of the Steve Morrison's about him for me. So to think that he's only 19 or 20 or whatever he is now, there's a long way to go for him, hopefully we see a fair bit of that with us. So yeah, I'm sure you're getting lots of messages saying similar things today, Nick, so I won't labour the point, but as I said at the start, a week's a long time in football. It's only a long time at Millwall. So here we go, let's see what happens next. As I said last week, a few big days ahead of us now. Transfer window shuts on Monday. I don't think these 2 wins should delude anyone into thinking that we don't need players. It'd be great to see what they manage to put out. Hopefully they do. And roll on QPR at the weekend. Nice to be looking up the table. Didn't think I'd be saying that when I sent you a message last week. Anyway, Nick, thanks again. See you soon. Bye-bye.
That was rather a sheepish message, Jim. I don't think there's any need to be too sheepish, listeners. I think we've all seen what we've seen lately, and I slightly had a bit of fun at the start of the show with one of the posters online for the kind of like the bipolar nature of football. But you can only ever react to what you've just seen, and the messages and the reaction that was generated by some of the poor performances whereas a consequence of players not doing what they've been doing Saturday and last night at Portsmouth. So, I think football is a strange thing, isn't it? And sometimes the proverbial kick up the arse is needed to bring everyone to their senses. And no one, I don't generally believe that any Millwall fan wants to be booing their own team, wants to be posting negative messages. I don't want to be doing negative based shows. And the reason that we don't have to do it now is because the players have stepped up to the plate, raised their game, and that's all we ever wanted in the first place. So, really, hats off to everyone that took part in last night's game. It was a bit of a pounding in the second half. Thankfully, Portsmouth weren't terribly clinical, but they did get the ball into the penalty area quite a bit, and they got men forwards, I thought. It was quite an achievement. I mean, Jeff Tanganga, is he the best of all time? That's a very good question. I saw that post, Jim, and I was a bit shattered last night, so I didn't bother trying to reply to it. But I thought I'd pick up the cudgels today. Is he the best we've ever had? It's a very difficult question, isn't it? Because everyone always has the the kind of the rosy tint of their youth, with the prism of youth for which you look at everything. Especially football, which always looks better in the past, and it can sometimes appear in the present. So I'd say it's actually an impossible question. It may be an impossible point to make. I don't know. By the same token, because I would also, as I've said in this show already, I would also and have been trying to think of better balls forward, such as we saw from Reece Bangura Williams for the goal last night, and I can't think of any at the moment. So, certainly Jeff Tanganga is a Premier League defender. I don't think there's anyone out there that will, disagree with that. Whether we can retain him through this transfer window onto the end of the season, I don't know. He will generate interest because he looks so solid and assured. I'm reassured, listeners, that we now. I was doubting, and this is where I maybe I should post a sheepish message, Jim. I was doubting the recruitment team that we have, and I think their recent signings in Aaron Connolly and Tristan Kramer have shown actually that they're onto something. I can see what they're trying to do, and I think that wasn't apparent before. So there we are. You can only speak as you see it in the moment. Great message, though. Thank you, Jim. We're going to run two together now. We're going to play John Rankin and then Bill Slack.
Morning, Nick. Morning, listeners. The morning after the night before again. And feeling very, very good about a fantastic win at Fratton Park. Portsmouth 0. I was going to say Portsmouth Argyle there. Portsmouth 0, Millwall 1. And what do you make of that? Well, I think the main difference was we had a centre forward who could find the back of the net. The big fucking Serb. Tremendous. Got to say, I felt ever so sorry for Reece Bangura Williams. And I'm so pleased with his resilience because, he had a nightmare missing that open goal. And for someone so sort of inexperienced at championship level, I thought his head might drop, but it didn't. And what a move to score our goal. It was a lovely 1-2 with Casper Denore, and then the sweetest ball through, just perfectly. When you watch it, I watched it on the replay, on a piece of string, perfectly weighted into the path of Ivanovic. Takes some real skill to do that, especially on a grass surface like that, cold night. You've really got to have a good touch for the ball. And it was just beautiful. And he had that extra half a yard of pace just to beat the centre-back to it and lifted it over the goalie. Real quality finish. If Lionel Messi had done that, it'd be, he makes it look so easy. What a genius. That was a beautiful finish. The simplest things in football are the best and take the most, the most skill. And to finish like that composure, I told everyone, didn't I? I'm not saying I told you so, but I did. When everyone was giving him shit, I said, after seeing him score that goal at Derby, against Derby at the Den, with the composure that he showed on, I think it was his debut, or it might have been his debut at the Den, scoring a goal in the CBL, taking it round the keeper and left footing it into the net. You know, I thought, this kid's got it. He knows what he needs to do. You know, by golly, he has. So there was some good early moments from Connolly. He kind of drifted out a little bit of the game, but I was sort of surprised. I couldn't work out what position he was playing, and he was playing over towards the flank again, and I think he should be right in the middle of the park. But that's just my view. He looks a little bit wasted out there, but he worked hard, and he won a lot of free kicks, and he holds the ball up nicely. But I see him as a number 10, I really do. I think him and Bangoria Williams are kind of vying for that situation. So it's quite interesting to see what the formation is there. But let's face it, I mean, you know, if Portsmouth had a number 9 as good as Ivanovic, then I think it would have been a different story. Big shout out to Tanganga again. He is just awesome. I managed to get a really good look at how he defends in the second half, because Portsmouth were attacking our end, the away end. And he's got the most unusual technique. I'm still thinking about it. I still can't work it out. How he actually, you know, sort of, he kind of wraps his foot, you know, in a space around the back of attackers without fouling them, and just sort of nudges the ball, and then it's just strange to look at. Strange but beautiful. He's got a really interesting defending technique, and he was absolutely immense. Absolutely immense. He's just a Rolls Royce of a defender. I think that's been said before. Really is quality. Jake Cooper had a good game. Joe Bryan, a little bit shaky again on the left, but, you know, they had some good wingers, Portsmouth, and at the end of the day we won, so no problem. But I just think Joe needs to sharpen up on his defensive attributes a bit. The French boy played really well. He did. He came back in the second half quite well against a very, very nippy winger, and he's playing out of position. He's not a right back. He's a centre. He's a centre back. So bearing that in mind, he did really well against that nippy winger. Midfield got a little bit overrun again, I think. It needs beefing up in the midfield. I really do believe that. I think George Savon, Casper Norre, you know, they try their best and they're very good players, but I just think we're light in the midfield with 2. I don't think we can cope. I think we've got to play 3 in the midfield. Duncan Watmore, good contribution. You know, everyone played really well. So it was a good away day. The main thing is, I mean, I think we've, you know, with these new additions to the team, Connolly, Bangura Williams, Ivanovic, we got Marku to come on as well. For me, this is the future. This is what you build around camera, you know. Oh, and can I just say, the goalie, Liam Roberts, absolutely superb, you know. I mean, I've got to say, old Casper Jensen will be looking at his, looking and thinking, oh my God, do I get back in the team? Because I'll tell you what, I couldn't fault young Roberts. I thought he was excellent under pressure, and he came and took a couple of really sweet corners and crosses right out the air. Very, very good, very competent. Distribution needs to be worked on, but you know, you can't have everything. And I think if he gets his kicking sorted out, then he'll be a force to be reckoned with. So we go on to QPR at the Den. You know what it's like. We have 2 blazing away performances and then we lose 1-0 at the Den. But no, you know, I'm hoping that the resilience we got in the squad, the team spirit, we just keep this momentum going. Just keep playing. It was a scrappy game. I think we need to get the ball on the floor a bit more and work it. You know, bring Connolly into the middle. I really do see him as being a pivotal player. And we go forward. So, come on, you Lions.
Hello, Nick. Bill Slack. What a performance. What a game. What a Millwall performance that was. I've got to say, what a team performance. Yeah, we are on our arse. We're absolute bare bones, and every single one of them put their bodies, everything on the line. Astonishing result to go to Portsmouth and get a win away from home. They had won 6, drawn 4 and lost 1 before tonight. They rested players specifically for this game tonight against West Brom and got dicked 5-0. You got to wonder how their manager feels tonight. You can just go through the entire team. Saville, I forgive him for his flapping fish routine. He was absolutely immense. Tanganga is like a magnet to the ball. It's astonishing. And I actually found myself referring to Brian as Joe tonight, which is, I'm not sure if it's a welcome development or not, but his last 3 games, he's been fantastic. The same combination for the goal, Bangura Williams to Ivanovic. I've got to say with Ivanovic, my biggest reservation this entire time is that I felt we might have too much money of our budget tied up in him when we could have brought somebody in a bit more experienced. Well, he's put that to bed. He runs around doing all of the donkey work for 68 minutes. He gets one decent chance and puts it away. Bangura Williams, perfect pass. You could just go through the old team. Denore was fantastic. D'Artagnan at right back, he was fantastic. Just all of them, amazing. Roberts, keeper, first game of the season, looked incredibly confident. They shall not pass. That's how it was tonight, and I'm so proud of them. 7 points out of 9. Absolutely brilliant. Just top notch. Ivanovic looks like a real find. You've got to be honest and say hats off to the recruitment team. I do wonder how much game time Bangura Williams would have got if Mr. Harris was still here. I'd suggest probably not a lot. I think that he's got a bit of growing into his body to do. I think he's need to work on developing his engine, but you know, imagine him with a bit more muscle and a bit more fitness. My God. Yeah, we've got some really decent prospects there. Just genuinely over the moon, mate. Absolutely fantastic. What a lovely bit of breathing space. 10 points off of the drop zone now, and dare I say it, 7 points off the playoffs. But I think let's just get to safety, and what a result. What a fantastic performance. Well done, boys. Well done, Millwall.
Achtung, Millwall.
Good evening, Nick Hart, Bobby T, 12:25. The lovely coach driver dropped me at South Ken. Thank you very much. My son couldn't make it, but I took my Croatian friend, and we've just beaten Pompey. Yet again, the lights this time didn't fail, but Mihailo, take a bow, my son. Sorry, that's a car going by. It's about 12:20 at night at South Kensington Station. Got early morning shift. Where do I begin? Nick Hart podcast. Bobby T here, giving you Portsmouth 0, Millwall 1. Back-to-back wins. Mihailo didn't Harris say he's not ready? And at Oxford away, he played Honeyman and Bradshaw, his mates. Mihailo's not ready. And Mako on the bench. Remember all this, then nothing against Harris, because this show, I need to take back what I said. Nothing negative in 2025, Nick Hart and the Achtung Millwall boys. All about positive. And I think the last show, I said Aaron Connolly, the alcohol, this and all that. He missed the penalty. But tonight, he was a great asset down the wing. I take my hat off to Aaron Connolly, not Copland. Lol, laugh out loud. No, seriously, Nick Hart and all the boys. Aaron Connolly, I take back what I said. Even Mihailo, and I said he wasn't ready. And he's proved me wrong, the big Serb. 2 back-to-back quality goals. Now, Bangura Williams, Bangura the youngster, he missed the sitter. Duncan Watmore come up to him and said to him, don't worry, put your head up. But on the 40-minute mark, my God, Bangura Williams, 45, 50 million price tag now. What a through ball to Mihailo. Mihailo does what he does best, scores goals. And what a lovely goal. So, great night. Great away support. Thanks, Nick Hart. Millwall, back-to-back 1-0 wins. And let's not mistaken Tatanga. Without him, Millwall's back 4 on nothing. Crammer, credit. He turned to the crowd, fist pumps to the Millwall fans. But listen, I'm going to end it on a positive note because for me, Liam Roberts, the podcast, when I listened to podcasts, something about podcasts, he was on it on I forgot what it was called, the podcast, but he was on a podcast about football's cosh and all that, and he was going through mental health, Liam Roberts, and he's been given a chance tonight, and oh my God, Liam Roberts is a quality keeper. Maybe he's better on crosses and handling than Jensen. Nothing against Jensen. Ooh, that's a nice big motor. Audi A3. Anyway, at South Ken, got early morning shift, just got into London, as I said, and Millwall do it again. Back-to-back wins, 10 points clear of the city, thanks to the big serve Milo. Thank you very much, Millwall fans. Bye for now, Bobby T.
Well done for going down there last night, Bob, especially if you're on a morning shift, mate, blimey. Well done. I'm going to put you in charge of our recruitment, our transfer doings. If you've got 45 million to 50 million for RBW there, I love that. That's the kind of valuation that we should be looking for, I think. Aaron Copeland, yeah, he's a classical music composer. I keep getting it. It's in my head, listeners. I've got every time I go to say Aaron Connolly, I've got like a little voice saying Aaron Copeland, Nick. And if I do, make a mishap, forgive me. I'm getting old. But I'm loving the positivity there, Bob. Great stuff. This is now from henceforward, I'm declaring this a positive only zone on Achtung Millwall. Negativity, no. Positivity, yes. Big thank you, Bobby T. We're going to run a few back-to-back messages, listeners. We're going to run Rob Woodford, Mark Willoughby and Mark Barnes. Take it away, Rob.
What a result. And a big shout out to Liam Roberts, his first ever championship game. His previous 190 odd were all in League One and League Two, weren't they? So a great full Millwall debut, I thought, and he shows a lot of confidence going forward. Another superbly taken goal by Ivan and another superbly created assist from Banger Williams. They're right on it at the moment, aren't they? Tanganga, again, for me, was man of the match, but Warriors all. Sav was immense, and referees really don't like his old-school tackling, but, he's only trying to make the great game scrappy so he can defend a lead. I thought Crammer struggled a bit in the second half, playing in his unorthodox position, and was up against Josh Murphy. We'd have him, wouldn't we? I thought Ryan Wintle showed great composure, shoring up the midfield late in the game. And Connolly, he's really looking a good coup signing now. We should all drink to that, I think. Maybe not you, Aaron. One observation, Nick, the Pompey player called Ogilvy. Now, I'm a bit old-fashioned. I don't think a player with a name like that should be anywhere near a football shirt. Football was invented for the industrial working class, not 11th century barons, for fuck's sake. Ogilvy sounds like a posh knob from Belgrave Square who jaunts about in red corduroy strides and a yellow jumper over his shoulder, whose highlight of the week is a cup of Darjeeling down the National Trust, and whose only sporting prowess is probably a game of bridge and only the odd game of whiff-waff. Sorry to digress, mate, but what a name for a footballer. Well, it's QP up next, those upstarts from West London. Not many tickets left for that. Come on, you Lions. Keep it on the island wall.
Hi, Nick. Mark Willoughby here. Don't call in that often, but I've been inspired to do so by the events of last night after our magnificent away win to Portsmouth, and also because that's the end of a block of 4 games, which I saw as absolutely pivotal to our season. New manager, lots of injuries, and 4 so-called easier games. Before those block of 4 games, I saw it as crucial to get 7 points. I assumed the most logical way of getting those would be 2 home wins, and then a draw at Luton I thought was reasonable, and then probably a loss at Portsmouth, who are on good home form. And by that point, we'd have run out of steam after 4 games in 10 days with a depleted squad. So, of course, the reason there was such a massive reaction after the Hull and Cardiff games was because the whole game was absolutely awful, worst performance of the season, and then how we threw away a 2-goal lead against Cardiff. So to come back so well against Luton with a dogged performance, and then a magnificent performance last night, I thought, is testament to the energy and hard work of the team, which I feared had somehow disappeared following Neil Harris's departure. But it's still there, and these honest players can still be relied upon. And now we can maybe consign Hull and Cardiff to a blip. Especially pleasing last night was the defensive performance, and Roberts did a very good job, very solid. And if for no other reason for phoning in, it's to say this: Joe Bryan, man of the match, in my opinion. Angura Williams, horrific miss, but atoned very, very well with a brilliant pass. And then our talismanic Serb came in with a very composed finish for a great goal. Interestingly, our Serb has scored 4 league goals, an equaliser against Derby, which earned a point, and then 3 winners. So he is our talisman. He is one to put to bed in Cotton Wool every night.
Hello Nick, it's Barnsley here. I just thought I'd give you a quick call on last night's brilliant performance. I missed the first 20 minutes because I was training my girls' team, but I was told that obviously the young man missed an absolute sitter, and I've seen it since, and it has been, it was a bit of a bad miss. But saying that, the guy, he's got such old head on his shoulders, because it might have affected him, but it didn't, did he? He just carried on, and he was absolutely brilliant. And the ball play through for Ivanovic was unbelievable. And great passage of play between him and Denor as well. Or Denor, whatever you want to call him. But I was really impressed. The back four was absolutely brilliant last night. I thought Brian was outstanding again. Great block in the first half. And he was like a tiger, man. He was up for every single challenge. And and the French guys, he's playing out of position, but what a performance from him. Cooper, Tanganga, just, definitely the best 2 centre-halves in that league, I think, personally, but I'm a bit biased. Midfield, how long are these 2 centre midfielders going to keep going on for? Because, they covered every blade of glass last night, and, it was getting towards, 50 minutes, and I was looking at the bench thinking, come on, get some legs on, and he did. Hopefully protecting the players as well. And, Ivanovic up top, running the flanks, doing everything, way above his age group was just brilliant. And, and I think Mr., as I call him, the fat Grealish, but Connolly is just absolutely fantastic. He draws these fouls in the good positions as well and slows the game down, but he has that turn of pace, and towards the end when he cut inside, and everyone was expecting him to go to the corner flag, but he didn't. He cut inside and curled an absolute great chance just past the post. But he was brilliant. And I say everyone, people would come on last night, the legs come on, Billy done all right. All good. What more? Ran his socks off as usual. And Honeyman drawing fouls, professional foul, shall we say, when the guy's running into the area. Brought him just before, he got into the dangerous area, which was a good play. But, injury front still looking pretty scarce for the players that we have got in the team, and, turning out performances week in, week out. So we do need players. Everyone knows that. And hopefully something will come in the next few days. But, really chuffed with the performance. I just hope we can keep going, because there must be some tired legs. I don't even think they're training. I think they're just turning up to games and just playing. But what a performance. Buzzing. Brilliant crowd there last night. Great support on the TV. You could hear them. And Roberts, really good. A fantastic performance. Didn't have a lot to do, but you see him at the end of the game. Absolutely brilliant. That's the players we want playing for our club. But I loved it. Buzzing to go to work today. But yeah, really happy. And long may it continue. Take care, mate.
Cheers, Barnesy. And before Barnesy, Mark Willoughby and Rob Woodford. Some fantastic footage of Liam Roberts at the end of the game. Fist pumping, the crowd really, really into it. That's wonderful to see. And there's some really nice videos doing around. You've probably seen them all already, dear listeners. Just rewinding slightly back to Mark's message. Joe Bryan, man of the match. That's a phrase I never thought I'd hear on this show, or any variation thereof. He did well last night, I thought. I think what's interesting, if that's the right word, Mark, is that his defensive work has improved as his crossing seems to be fading. I wish we could get more of a crossing out of him, because that's his prime role in the team. But defensively, no, I thought he did okay last night. But man of the match, well, it's your first show for a little while. We'll go with that. And before Mark, I like the nickname Banger for Reece Banger Williams. That's a good old fashioned Millwall nickname, dear listeners. Let's play you a little bit more Bobby T up to the advertising break, and then after that we'll play out the show with the remainder of the voice notes, dear listeners. Stay tuned.
Nick Hart, Bobby T here. One more thing. I just wanted to touch upon all this. The way we're going forward now, it's still not safe. It's 10 points clear. We need to back it up with QPR at home, and then trips to Plymouth and Preston before Jed Wallace's West Brom home return. But my question is, second half, the way Millwall set up here, classic Millwall, whether it's Harris, Rowett, we come out second half, and for the past couple of years now, it's always been 1-0 Millwall. 1-0, we're not Arsenal, but we just keep on winning 1-0 and then parking the bus. And if that's enjoyable football, and then we're happy to finish mid-table, go for the playoffs, we're winning 1-0. But then second half, we don't finish teams off. Do you get what I'm trying to say here now, basically? That second half today, Portsmouth, we come out, and is it good to watch? For me, the nerves, anxiety to any other team than Pompey would have finished us off in the second half. They lack the quality. And for me, coming out of second half mentality, whatever Alex Neil's saying to them, come out, park about 20 buses and hope, defence, give them credit. Our back four line is quality, not quality. Cooper is not bad, combination with Tatanga. Kramer is a good right back. But my case is going forward, are we going to get away with this every game winning 1-0 and then shutting up shop? Is it a pretty way? It's the Millwall way. Harris done it, Rabbit done it. So going forward, for me, I don't enjoy that, hanging on at the end, scraping 1-0 wins, but who cares? Bobby T signing off. Thank you, Nick Hart, for the ticket. Great result. On to QPR. Now let's back it up with a 4-0 win. Bye for now, Bobby T signing off at South Ken. Got Harrods in the morning. Bye for now. No one likes us. And Serb, I love you.
That's actually a good point, Bob. The hanging on for grim death is not easy to watch, that's for sure. We did break forwards. There was a late shot from Connolly, which maybe could have done better. But you ask a good question. Would a better team than Pompey have actually beaten us in the second half? Don't know. You can only play what's in front of you. At the end of the day, needs must when our squad is so stretched. I think that would be the reply that I'd make to you, Bob. But I'd take your point. It would have been great if Reece had scored in that opening 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it was. But he didn't let his head drop, and we did work a fantastic goal. So this is now positivity only zone. So I take your point, Bob. Parking the Millwall bus has been effective for us against some really decent teams, and we're not far short now of safety. So we'll probably see it again, I dare say. Let's move along now. We're going to take a short break for the adverts. Then we're going to play out the show with Adam Wicks, Glyn Horner and Lawrence Binney.
Achtung, Millwall.
Hi Nick, Glyn here. So yeah, good result last night away to Portsmouth. First half I would say we looked comfortable, although we let them have a lot of time on the ball. Second half was a real backs to the wall defensive effort, and I think Portsmouth were really threw the kitchen sink at us, and actually looked like a side that probably better than their league position actually hints at. So yeah, I generally speaking, I think that was a really good win for us, and there will be other teams that will struggle to beat Portsmouth. I'm not sure that Portsmouth team will get relegated this season. I think they're probably too strong. However, looking at our players, really happy with Liam Roberts in goal. Excellent performance. I'm old enough to remember players like Brian Horn and Keith Brannigan and players like that who were superb goalkeepers in the old-fashioned sense that they caught the ball and they held on to it and they were incredibly brave. And we saw that. Liam Roberts was almost like a sort of retro goalkeeping performance in that he was incredibly brave, really good handling skills, came out for one cross and seemed to catch it in his fingertips whilst flying over the back of a defender and a striker, held on to it and hit the ground. I mean that's really perfect goalkeeping technique. I think he's a quality player, and although we will miss Jensen, really lucky to have him in the team. I think Tristan Kramer and Aaron Connolly continue to look very classy players at this level, and both of them played very well. Connolly is a constant threat. The ball, like really for a short guy, holds the ball up so well, and brings the midfield and the attack together when he does that. So as he gets fitter, I mean, he did seem to sort of drift out of the game towards the end, but I guess that's just fatigue. He will get stronger and better, and I think he's a cracking player. And Kramer just, what a find. So let's hope that continues. And then finally, not a player that I give a lot of good responses to, but Joe Bryan. I think Joe Bryan in the last, I want to say 3 games now, has put in an excellent performance, consistently, and he has been in the past guilty of one great game and then 4 very average games. I think he's actually found a new level. It looks like, and if he can continue this towards the end of the season, then we may finally see the Joe Bryan that we thought we'd signed. And long may it continue, because he actually played so well last night and was really, really solid in defence as well as great at building the attacks. So, all looking positive. Looking forward to the QPR game. Come on, you Lions.
Morning, Nick. Just Adam Wicks here, just leaving my thoughts after last night's excellent 1-0 win away at Portsmouth. What a difference! What a difference a day makes, but what a difference 4 days makes. I think sometimes we're at our best and possibly most dangerous when our backs are against the wall and we're down to the bare bones. We're really scratching around, players playing with knocks, and they've really shown a massive amount of character in the last 2 games, especially, that I was starting to question a little bit again whether they still if they still wanted it. I think one of the most pleasing things for me last night was just literally seeing the sort of way they put their bodies on the line to kick, block, tackle, keep running hard against a side that rested a lot of their players on the weekend to have a better chance of beating us. And I think there's players that have in that side that have taken a lot of stick this season. Joe Bryan, for one, I think he's been absolutely sensational the last couple of games. He's really dug in and looked fantastic. Savills obviously redeemed himself after Cardiff, and it's just lovely to see some young players being ridiculously effective for us. I mean, Ivanovic Ivanovic is really coming to the party now, and I mean, God knows what his sort of chance to goal conversion is, but it seems like it must be right up there. Can only imagine how many goals he'd score in a team that fed him a decent amount of chances. I mean, hopefully we'll get there eventually. And I think just the prospect of some of our creative talents coming back, your Aziz's, Amaku's, Coburn coming back and joining, helping support. And just the emergence of Bangura Williams. Where's this kid come? I mean, obviously, people that watch the 21s or know about what's going on with the youth players might have an idea. But I mean, surely even he can't have imagined things would have gone this well. Yeah, what a talent the boy looks. Unbelievable. The ball played through to Ivanovic was, I mean, spot on. But not just that, the little bit of interplay before that with Denor to take out a couple of Portsmouth players and leave himself the room to play that ball. And, all off the back of missing probably our easiest chance of the season to score as well. So the boy's obviously got some character. Yeah, really pleased. And now, looking forward to QPR. It would just be lovely to get a couple of bodies through the door, or a couple of players back just for a little bit of respite for some of them. But, really fantastic. I thought Roberts was very good in goal, very competent. Like the way he come confidently for crosses. So just delighted. And, like I say, on to Saturday. Really looking forward to the game now. Come on, you Lions.
Hi Nick, it's Lawrence Binney here calling in after Portsmouth 0, Millwall 1. So it's not pretty at the moment, is it? But God, we look so much more effective in the past week or so. I think a big difference immediately you have to notice is just how well some of the new players have slotted in. Especially, I mean, I include Bangura Williams in that. I mean, he is a new player, even if he's been at the club for a while now. Where has he come from, by the way? I mean, I've heard, kind of little snippets from people who watch the under 21 games that he's a good talent, but he's slotted in just so seamlessly. Plays a similar role to SA, but I think, he doesn't maybe have the touch or, I was about to say the close control, but I'm remembering his assist against Cardiff. He has a stellar end product from what we've seen. That ball for Ivanovic was right out of the Premier League, playing the 1-2 with Denor, and just caressing it, curling it, the arc into his feet. A wonderful assist. But yeah, I suppose Ivanovic, you could call him a new player. He's always shown kind of glimmers of ability, of his obvious talent. But he's putting on a royal variety show with those goals, isn't he, at the moment? Forget the sublime to the ridiculous. It's a ridiculous, flobbing about on the deck like a beached salmon to head that goal against Dagenham. To the sublime in the past week. I mean, what a fantastic dink finish. And I think what I noticed, the difference between him and maybe some of the other strikers we've had, is that he is able to kind of produce those finishes under some pressure. Get a lot of time to think about that shot last night. But yeah, it was ice cold, predatory. There was looking. I mean, it's easy to say in hindsight, but there was almost no doubt that he put it away. Very, very impressed with him in the past couple of games. But I think, also just the new boys, ones that have gone maybe under the radar in terms of signing. We didn't know a lot about Aaron Connolly. We didn't know a lot about Tristan Kramer. Connolly especially came in with his own problems, but I think especially in the past couple of games, Connolly has given us some real width and invention on that left hand side. And Kramer, I think I compared him to Murray Wallace last week. I think maybe a more apt comparison is Matt Lawrence of the early 2000s. Just those overlapping runs really give us a lot of support down that right hand side. It's very nice to see. I can't. It's still, we're still very much a work in progress. The squad is still very mediocre, but when you've got 2 or 3 good options in your team, players who are fearless, it makes all the difference. It means that even when you're not coherent, as I don't think we were last night, you can win games through moments of quality. So yeah, very, 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 very pleased. Just a sort of quick word on Portsmouth. I thought they were a lot better than Luton were. They don't look like a relegation struggler, or at least I didn't think. And use their width well. Jacob Murphy was a particular thorn in our side. But yeah, we're so resolute defensively in those situations, aren't we? Backs to the wall defending. And players seem to bounce off Tanganga. I also thought Cooper had a good game. A really, really, really good interception for in the second half, when it seemed like they had an open goal at their mercy. And talking of open goals, Pagura Williams, oh dear. I mean, what character from the young lad to respond in the way he did? Because I think that would have ruined most players' games, wouldn't it? Missing a chance like that so early on. So yeah, onwards and upwards. We still need reinforcements. I still don't think we're completely out of the mire yet, but we put ourselves in a very good position. All right, cheers, Nick. Onwards and upwards. Come on, you Lions.
Good morning, Nick. Bobby T. From Early Morning Star. Crisp and fresh. Summing up last night's win against the Pompey cunts. Let's be sorry for the language. Over 18s is Achtung, Millwall. No, seriously, Nick. Walking to work now. Fresh, lovely. I just feel so happy with back-to-back wins, and you've got to give the team credit. You've got to give the change that Alex Neil done on, I don't know, with the 60, 70 minutes mark, the way he changed it. Yeah, he put Honeypoo on, he put Whitnell on, the Cardiff guy, and look, let's be honest, masterclass if you ask me. But every single player, and I want to give a big mention, because I've slated him off, no negative on this show, and I always get passionate, as I always do, like most of us. We only sing when we win, but win, lose, or draw, we're Millwall. So what I was going to give a big credit to is every player needs credit, like the Crammer coming in on the right back, his passion, But let's be honest, big mention to Aaron Connolly, not Copland. But no, Connolly, done well, amazing, give credit to him. Tanga, the voice we know about. And my third mention after Tango, for me, who's done really well, was the back four, Joe Bryan's got to be given credit. He put a shift in. But for me, Aaron Connolly, the big Serb, and the Royce. And so we're on the way to QPR now on Saturday. Again, we've got to turn up because the West London bastards are no pushovers. But last night, we put Pompey's lights out. Bye for now.
There you go, magnificently summed up as ever by Bobby T. A couple of messages earlier on post the question, where has Race Bangura Williams come from? So I'm just looking at his Wikipedia page, listeners. Where he's come from is through a selection of some of the big names of football. Unbelievably, Chelsea have a pre-academy from 5 to 8 years old. Can you believe that? Well, Reece was there. He then went on to sign at Watford as an under-9. Incredible that this is what clubs have. Throughout his teenage years, he trained with clubs such as Tottenham Hotspur, Norwich City, progressing at neither due to his slight build. This seems to have been the regular feature of his career so far. He then played 32 times, at least 32 appearances with Tooting and Mitcham, scoring 3 goals between 21 and 23. Also mixed in with further trials at places like Brentford, Middlesbrough, Fleetwood and Millwall, and we did our best to turn him down, listeners. But eventually we did sign him in December 2023. That will be incidentally an Aldo signing, just to stoke the fire a little bit. A long-term contract was signed in January 2025, and as they go on, goal-scoring debut versus Dagenham and Redbridge. So yeah, that's where he's come from, and that's really the kind of player that we need to be looking at, because leaving aside who signed him, but that's exactly the kind of diamond in the rough that this project is going to be built around, listeners. What a player, what a prospect, and he's clearly, he's got through the fingers of a number of clubs there. So that's exactly the kind of player that we want to see progress at Millwall. Listeners, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone for contributing to today's show. Can't do it without you. I want to say a big thank you to you too, dear listener, for tuning into the show. Do, if you have half a chance and you want a t-shirt, do go to noonelikes.co.uk. We're doing an Achtung Millwall t-shirt on there, which will benefit the Lions Food Hub. Wonderfully, Martin at No One Likes Us Clothing is doing it for cost price. So the price of 15 quid will generate a donation of £8 per t-shirt to the Lions Food Hub, which is magnificent. And I really want to say thank you to Martin. Do have a little, nosy through some of his other products, and there's some really nice stuff on that website. But the Lions Food Hub t-shirt it will benefit the Food Hub to the tune of £8 a pop. So brilliant stuff. Big thank you to No One Likes Us Clothing. Listeners, I'm at the end of the road on this show. I'll say a big thank you to everyone. We'll be back at the weekend after the QPR game. Fingers crossed for another performance and 3 points. And, we'll see you next week to review the outcome of Saturday's game. So until then, dear listeners, from me, Nick Hart, it's Arrivederci Millwall. Bye for now.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.